Shan'ann Watts murder case a little bit. Again, I did start what I wanted to be a series on this case. I did 3 or 4 videos that I was calling the introduction to the Watts case, and I've still got to finish that up, and then I am going to do a series on this case, just discussing things that call out to me, things that struck me, things that are important to me, things that I have learned since falling into this case, things like that. In the early videos that I did put out about the case, I just wanted to make a couple of comments about those early videos. Whatever I may have said and whatever I say in the future regarding this case or anyone else living or deceased, in no way, shape, or form do I mean any disrespect to Shan'ann Watts' family. They went through a hell of an ordeal, and I support them 100%. So I am always for the victim. I know that they were attacked, and a huge ordeal went on that they did not deserve, and it still goes on. The internet is full of people, trolls, just negative and awful, and still bashing this deceased woman, and you know, it just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, in those early videos, again, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to disrespect. I don't know how to pronounce their name. Her maiden name was Rushek. Her mother Sandra and her father Frank. I think they are very warm and loving people. I think they were a great family. I think they've been through enough. I really like her mother's cooking channel. I think that she and her mom had a fantastic, loving relationship, and with her father. I know she also has a brother, and I just think they have suffered immensely. And so I don't mean any disrespect. I am, ever since running across this case, I ran across it by accident last year. It's one of those cases that once you run across it, you're never the same again for many, many reasons. And I don't know why Shan'ann Watts has haters. The woman has passed. She was murdered. Her life was taken. I don't know why she has haters, but she does. So I am not one of them. I, after running into her case, became very inspired by her. Her videos, she was very big on social media because of her job, and she was just one of those outgoing personalities that like to make a lot of videos, just like I do. I relate to Shan'ann Watts in a lot of ways, and the more I watched her videos and listened to her speak and really took in her energy, picked up on her tone, I could really feel things about this woman that I personally related to as a woman and in other ways. And so I just want to say that I did mention in my early part of the series, I started about Shan'ann Watts in this case. I mentioned that I thought a lot of her drive came from likely anxiety. It was mentioned that she had OCD. Now, to what degree, I don't know. I personally can relate to that very much because I also have an anxiety disorder and I have obsessive compulsive traits. I did mention that I thought a lot of her drive to succeed, to prove something to herself, her work ethic, wanting to cover all bases, wanting to be a good mother, a good wife, a good salesperson, have a great career, just really involved with people and helping others and caring for her home, and she had a great style. I mentioned that I thought a lot of that drive came from perhaps a deeper inner insecurity that she may have been carrying throughout her life, because she did mention that she was bullied at school, that people picked on her, and also, it's public knowledge, it was mentioned that her father may or may not have had a problem with alcoholism. There was a book written. I am going to start citing my sources and putting links in the description where I get my information. There was a book written, and I was listening to a particular channel where they were doing a book review. I believe It was the book that Chris Watts' mother, Cindy Watts, wrote. Now, I forget the name of it, but like I say, in the future videos, I'm going to be having links in the description where people can go and get more information for themselves or whatever. And in the book, Cindy was talking about how when she first met Shan'ann, this is Chris's mother, Cindy, when she first met Shan'ann and Shan'ann's mother, Sandy, Cindy and the Watts family did not like Shan'ann. They instantly did not like her. They were taken aback. They were a different type of personality than Shan'ann. They were really just kind of weirded out by her outgoing, outspoken nature. They immediately didn't like her. I personally feel like the Watts family is very toxic people. That's just me. And I've been involved with families like that before. I know what they look like and what they fucking act like. They instantly judge people right up front, especially someone more outgoing and beautiful and smart and that's coming into their son's life. I know those types, those pathological types of mothers. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I know the types. Anyway, so in the book, Cindy Watts has put out a book, and she was discussing when she first met Shan'ann, and they all got together, and Shanann's mom, Sandy, was there too, and she said, you know, she was complaining and speaking about them in a negative light about how outspoken they were, and how they just outright talked about things that she would never talk about. She didn't like to put her family business out there like that. Whereas Shan'ann and Sandy were more comfortable, you know, showing some flaws and being a little bit more open and vulnerable about the things that maybe had happened to them in their life and in their family. Now, that's the way I see that. Now, I believe, of course, in privacy and being discreet when we need to be, using tact when we need to use tact. But the way I see this, Shan'ann and her mother were warm and loving and open and honest, and that's what you get with honest, authentic people who have nothing to hide, who are not toxic or narcissistic or insecure in that way. They are just open and honest, and they have no problem showing some vulnerability, you see. Narcissistic and toxic people and toxic families, they keep secrets. I personally feel that's what Cindy Watts meant by that comment. I like to be more private. Anyway, they keep secrets, they hide things, they cannot be vulnerable. Narcissistic people are terrified to be vulnerable. They will not let you see their mistakes, their weaknesses. They cover up a lot, they pathologically lie. Anyway, so that's that. I personally, think that Chris Watts' mother and sister especially did not like Shan'ann from day one. They did not even give her a chance. And so that's how that goes. And so they were discussing some things when they first met, and in Cindy Watts' book, Christopher's mother's book, Cindy was talking about how Shanann's mother was discussing her husband alcoholism. At one point, he had struggled with alcoholism. And Cindy Watts goes on to say that even though her husband had had a problem with cocaine at one point, that she didn't really feel comfortable just putting things out there like that so soon and talking like that. Okay, that was that. So in my videos in the early part of the series on the Watts murder case, I was referring to Shan'ann being bullied in school, being picked on, and I also mentioned that her father may have struggled with alcoholism. That is the reference I got it from. And all I was saying is that if that was the case, well, that may or may not have affected her personality growing up, depending on how long he was drinking, yada, yada, yada. I am the adult child of an alcoholic. I am the daughter of an alcoholic father. And so I know how it affected me, but mine was abusive. Now, I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that Shanann's mother nor father were abusive to her. I think she had a really good relationship with both of her parents. So let me just make that statement and clear the air. I don't want any misunderstandings. So that's that. I did mention that, and I do think that's where a lot of Shan'ann's drive, okay? I'm going to get really into that in future videos. What it's like to be a woman who suffers from anxiety, OCD, and it's real. It's real, and we need to talk about it more on a serious level, and it needs to be taken seriously, and it needs to be understood. So I will be getting deep into that in future videos regarding the Watts case and Shan'ann Watts and her personality, and you know, how I can relate as a woman with anxiety, OCD, a woman who's highly driven, who also needed to prove something to myself. I could see that written all over Shan'ann. It was important to her to work through a lot of her own insecurities that she may have picked up growing up. She was driven before Chris came into her life. And so I just wanted to say that. This isn't going to be a very long video, but I will be continuing this series as promised, and we're going to get into a lot of topics and discussions regarding the Watts case and things that I can relate to, things that I've seen in my own life. But yes, I see that in Shan'ann, that really driven personality. And the only thing I know for sure about that case, I mean, we have a lot of information. It was a very publicized case. We have a lot of information about their personal life, but none of us know anything for absolute sure. We can only speculate, which is what I'm doing. I can only talk about, like Dr. Todd Grande says, I can only talk about what could have been happening in a similar situation or what could have been going on with those people. So I'll just say that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving advice. It's just a discussion for educational purposes, educational and entertainment purposes only. But I really saw that in her. And the only thing I do know for sure about Shan'ann Watts, from my own personal taking in her energy, and really watching her over time, listening to her speak, the things she spoke about, her body language, her vocal tones. You can tell. You can tell when someone is a fucking narcissist, a cold, uncaring bitch that doesn't give a shit about her family, that's completely self-absorbed, totally to the high end of the narcissistic spectrum. You can tell. And that was not Shan'ann Watts. I don't give a fuck what these trolls on the internet say. These people who are bashing this woman after her death. I don't give a fuck what they say. You can tell. Clearly these people bashing her and saying that she was the narcissist. She controlled him. She this and she that. She was a terrible mother. Fucking stupid. It's just lame. You can tell these people just, clearly they're uneducated psychologically. Clearly they lack insight into people, emotional intelligence to a degree. These people that are bashing this deceased woman. Okay, I'm going to go there at another time. But yes, that's one thing that I do feel certain about, that Shan'ann Watts was a genuine person. I really do. I don't care how many purses she bought. I don't give a fuck how in debt she was. I don't care. All these things that people dig up on her to speak badly of this woman after she was brutally murdered by the man who was supposed to love and protect her. 15 weeks pregnant, thrown in a shallow grave, and her 2 baby daughters murdered as well. Okay. The people that are bashing her and harassing her family and have done so in the past and still picking on her, she's a terrible mother, she was in debt, she had a stupid job. Your emotional the people doing that, they must have the emotional intelligence of a fucking rhinoceros. No, of a fucking dead rat. That's the way I feel about you. Okay. Come on, get fucking real, right? If it was your family member that was brutally murdered like that and thrown away like trash, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about the people out there going, oh, let's not get emotional. Let's use critical thinking. Yes, let's. There's a lot of people who discuss this case. I'm a critical thinker all day long. But I don't give a fuck how hardcore you are, what kind of critical thinker you are when discussing and analyzing this case. If it was your family member brutally murdered like that and thrown in the trash, You wouldn't give two shits how in debt they were. You wouldn't care how many purses they bought. You would not be picking on their parenting skills because they took their kids to daycare. Who doesn't? Because she worked at home. Anyone who has children or half a brain knows that you can't concentrate with two toddlers. How are you supposed to do your job? Just because she worked at home, people bash her for taking her children to day school. What the fuck? Stuff that every one of you bitches do. Hey, I said it. I said it. That's right. You know damn well your ass does it too. Hey, every parent needs a break. Okay? It's just little ridiculous shit like that people bash her for. After her death. It's so ridiculous. So that's all I'm saying. If it was your family member and that had happened to them, you wouldn't give a damn. You wouldn't give a damn how in debt they were or what kind of purses they bought or how stupid their job was, or you wouldn't pick on all of these stupid, ridiculous things. You would be grieving the loss of that human, just like her family is. And I think anyone disgracing her memory, anyone doing that, I can't even put words to you. I can't even put words to something like that. You don't deserve attention. You don't deserve anything. Anyone disgracing that woman's memory, talking about her in a negative light after what happened to her, anyone harassing her family or talking about them in a negative light, you don't even deserve to be acknowledged. Next. Worms. Trash. That's how I feel about you. So, that's that, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for now. As I said, this is just a short little touch base to add to my Watts case series. And I am going to be getting on that and getting some more content up, continuing the series. And we're going to get into a lot of elements of this case and a lot of things that I could see in Shan'ann Watts as a woman and that I could relate to. I'm going to be discussing the mistress, Nicole Kessinger. I think she was just as Looney Tunes as Chris Watts. And it's just unbearably tragic. Unbelievably. It just takes my breath away. And ever since falling into the case a year ago, I think about them often. I didn't know them personally, but I do think about them. I watch a lot of Shanann's videos. She's a very inspiring person. I really love her personality. And no, she wasn't perfect. Who is? Who is perfect? But she was a human being, and she was a bright light, and I believe she was a woman trying her best to come into her own as a woman, to really find herself, to admit her insecurities and mistakes publicly. She didn't have anything to hide. I think she was a very genuine soul who did love her children dearly and who loved her husband, and she did not deserve what she got, nor did those children. So that's that. I don't care about the trolls out there. I'm always commenting on Shanann's videos, and occasionally I get attacked by trolls for my comments, and I just laugh at it because I think you're stupid. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you. Like and subscribe if you get anything out of the videos I've been putting out. There will be more to come on a lot of different topics, brought to you with my own personal, the way I put it down. And I appreciate you guys joining me.